So our church vision and mission, all right, our vision statement is cultivating a Christ-like culture. That's our vision. That's what we want to see happen through the ministry of New Life. So in all that we do, in the different ins and outs of ministry, day in and day out, Sunday in, Sunday out, what are we trying to accomplish? Well, we're trying to accomplish the cultivation of a Christ-like culture. Now, what does that mean? When we talk about a Christ-like culture, first of all, we understand that the word culture can carry different meanings by different people. But the way we view culture as a set of practices, a set of standards, or a set of rules that each individual is accustomed to. All of us that come into our church on a Sunday morning, and even the people that we encounter throughout our daily lives, we all have a particular culture. And even within cultures, there are different subcultures. In all actuality, what that means is nobody is exactly the same. All of us bring different experiences to the table. All of us bring different thoughts, different understandings, different ways of viewing life, different worldviews, we can call them. You know, it's hard to find two people who view the world and view others exactly alike. So when we're assembling into a house of worship, when we're coming into a church environment, we must understand that. So then the question becomes, if all of us are bringing different cultures, all of us are bringing different experiences, all of us are bringing different ways to raise our children, different ways to do relationships, different ways to be husband and wife, different ways to manage money. If all of us are bringing those different dynamics, how do we merge as one in a church body when all of us think different? And the answer to that question is making Christ the center of all that we do. If I'm bringing different experiences to the table, if you're bringing different experiences to the table, if you're bringing different things to ways of doing things to the table, and so am I, then it becomes a matter of how do we mesh together as one to fulfill the kingdom agenda of Jesus Christ. And the answer to that question is making sure that Christ is the dominant culture. You see, what Jesus did in his ministry is Jesus introduced to the world kingdom culture. He introduced the kingdom knowledge, the kingdom understanding of how to live life. What is the kingdom understanding? The kingdom understanding is viewing the world the way God intended for it to be viewed when he created it. Now, that doesn't mean we have an archaic understanding of things, and that doesn't mean we don't evolve or we don't progress. However, there are timeless principles that God always intended his world, his creation, both the worldly creation and the human creation, to be governed by. And so what we focus on here at New Life is uncovering and introducing those particular principles, that kingdom culture, that kingdom dynamic, that way of living that Jesus introduced to us throughout his ministry to the members of our congregation. Because what we want to do is we want to, regardless of what culture you were birthed of, because here's the reality. The reality is every culture outside of God's kingdom culture has flaws. None of them are perfect. That's why the book of Isaiah tells us, where the prophet Isaiah is talking to the people of Israel, telling them that Jesus, he's prophesying about Jesus, and he says, Jesus is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. And then ultimately in that prophecy, he says, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And when he says the government shall be upon the shoulders of Jesus, what he's saying to us rather, is that there will come a time where all of the kingdoms, all of the cultures shall rest upon the shoulders of Jesus, shall rest upon the principles of Jesus, that Every culture, no matter what your background is, every kingdom, every nationality shall rest upon the principles that Jesus introduced to the world. And so when we say we're cultivating a Christ-like culture, every Sunday, every Wednesday, every time we enter these worship doors, or anytime we present some form of teaching or event here at New Life, what we're doing is we're cultivating that kingdom culture. Every opportunity we get, we want to introduce people to the way that Jesus intended for the kingdom to be governed. Because we believe here at New Life that God the Father sent his son Jesus to the world to show us the way he intended for us to live when he created us. So our vision statement, cultivating a Christ-like culture, that's what that means.